You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. We're continuing with our slot with the NHS Swale Clinical Commissioning Group this evening. We're next going to be joined in the studio with Jim. Jim, firstly, thank you very much for talking to us.
Well, thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Well, I was hoping if we could start off by you just giving us a little introduction into your role.
Okay, well, I'm a commissioning manager in Swale Clinical Commissioning Group, and I'm really responsible for looking after the commissioning, the planning and putting into place of services in planned care and cancer. So I work with GPs and patients and hospitals and other providers in order to do that work.
So going on to our subject, where does the clinical commissioning group come in regarding to skin conditions?
Okay, well, as I say, we work with our GPs and other people in the health service and patients, such as Dr. Hall that you've just listened to, and we need to make sure that a service is there for people when they become ill. So if they have a skin condition they would that required being seen in a hospital or a community service, they would tend to be referred into the dermatology service. And we've been reviewing that in Swale, along with our neighbouring areas such as Medway and Dartford, Gresham and Swanley, largely due to increasing demand and advances in technology. And the fact that really more patients can and should be seen in the community rather than the local hospital. And we've just been speaking to patients who've attended those dermatology clinics to find out their experiences of the services and try to get from a patient point of view to understand whether their needs are being met and whether we need to do any more work on that. So as I said, dermatology is a term used for conditions that affect the hair, the nails, as well as the skin. And it can be conditions that range from rashes and moles to more serious things like skin cancers that Adrian was just describing. Clinics are run out in the community or at your local hospital, and to have an appointment you generally need a referral from your GP.
And Jim, I was next wondering if people have health concerns or need advice, where can they go?
Okay, well there's a number of ways people can find help from the traditional sort of resources like going to your GP and the like, but there are national resources, for example the NHS 111 phone number if it's not an urgent need and you want to talk to someone about your condition and where services are, and there's a national website called NHS Choices that people can go onto, but there are also a number of local things. And one thing I wanted to tell you about really was an app that's called Health Help Now that the Swale Clinical Commissioning Group has part commissioned. It's local to Kent. It can be used on mobile phones, tablets, laptops, desktop computers and the like. If you've got a symptom, you can select that. You can type in where you are if you need, or if you've got GPS on, I think it works with that, but you can type in where you are. And the app will basically tell you where the nearest service is that you need to go to. So, for example, if it was a pharmacist was your best first port of call, it would pick the nearest one that was open at that time, and it would give you directions to it. So I think it's a great resource. When you go onto that app, symptoms are broken down into age bands, so for children, teenagers, adults and the elderly, just to help you get the best possible advice. And it's been devised with input from local GPs and other health professionals. It's exclusive to Kent and Medway, and I can read out the link. It's quite a long link where you can download it, but it's on www.healthhelpnow-nhs.net. But you can also access that from our Swale website, and I think
there's a link on our blog and Facebook page our listeners can find.
Fantastic. Okay, I mentioned pharmacists there, so it's also worth remembering your community pharmacist. So they're highly trained professionals, and they can give advice and recommend medicines for a range of problems. The Swale area is very lucky actually to have two community hospitals, Sittingbourne Memorial Hospital and Sheppey Community Hospital. They have minor injuries units which are open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. So that's an alternative to going to accident and emergency if you have a minor injury. They have x-rays facilities there, for example. And at Sheppey Hospital, there's also a GP walk-in centre where you can turn up and see a GP between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m, again 7 days a week.
Jim, it sounds like the CCG has been very busy. If people want to know more about the Swale Clinical Commissioning Group, where can they go?
Okay, well, there's a number of governing body meetings which are held in public. Our governing body is made up of GPs and nurses and other clinicians, as well as managers. And they're the people that set the direction and the strategy for the CCG. So I say they hold meetings once a month, and many of those are in public. Prior to those events, there are things called listening post events, and at the start, where members of the public can come along and ask questions of the governing body. So the next meeting is Wednesday the 24th of September, and the listening post starts at 9 a.m. and finishes at 10. I'm not actually sure where the venue for that is, but we'll check that out and stick that on the website. We also hold various patient and public engagements events throughout the year, and if people are interested in attending those, they can either look on our website or they can sign up for our health network. And if they do that, they'll receive our newsletter, and that's full of information about the CCG, what we do, and where we're going with our new services. So as I say, people can find details of that on our website, which is at www.swaleccg, that's all one word, .nhs.uk, or by following us on Twitter, and that's at NHS Swale CCG, and there are regular tweets from there about what we're doing. I think I'll also just say, as this is primarily we were talking about skin services and skin conditions, that, as I said earlier, we have been talking to the patients at various clinics around the area about their experience of those services, and we've had about 400 odd responses to that, which is very good. But if there are people who are interested in talking to us, then do go online, and our details are there, and do get in touch with us.
Well, Jim, I'd like to thank you very much for coming in and covering those areas for us this evening.